this is what I want to do.
I want all the smoke, baby, let's go!
I thought, oh, okay, it's one of those.
And it seemed to be going really well, and then he just turned around and said, "Mum, I hate it." We were devastated.
But I don't see a world in which breaking into the Elite 15, which is my ultimate goal, doesn't happen, no. Hi, my name's Jude Reynolds, and I'm chasing the Elite 15. At 16 years old, I was in school, and I just moved to England again. So I was born here, moved over to the Cayman Islands until I was about 16, then moved back here and went to Cranleigh School. I was playing rugby, football, hockey, track, loving sports, but at 16 was mainly just in school and yeah, playing a bunch of sports, whatever I can get my hands on, really. At 16, I think it was getting no D's in my GCSE was my biggest achievement. When I was in Cayman, my grades weren't great. Moved here and things started to go up quite quickly. I took it more seriously from 16 onwards, so my grades did start to improve. Yeah, I always loved looking into how to technically get better at stuff, and so I think that translated into my desire to coach from around maybe 15, 14 years old. I always knew I wanted to be in sport, but the whole coaching bit, I think, in sort of terms of wanting to be more academic about how I perform, how others perform, helping others, started around that 15, 16 mark.
Jude the kid was a wonderful kid. He was always something a little bit different. So he walked from, I think it was 8 or 9 months. He was constantly frustrated from about the time he was about 5 minutes after he was born at not being able to run. So he's obviously had no interest in talking, but he always wanted to move around. And from when he was kind of primary school age, I knew like physically he was a little bit different because there'd be like school races from 60 yards up to like, well, not at age 8, but going up to about 10K when he was a bit older. And he'd podium at every distance. And I'm like, this makes no sense. You've got the big kids are supposed to win the sprints and you're kind of big, so that makes sense. But then the scrawny little kids are supposed to win the distance stuff, but you're winning or thereabouts in those as well. And this is really, really odd and kind of amazing. It's always interested in fitness. I mean, before he was a teenager, from about the time he was 11, when he asked me for dumbbells and I said, no, it's not good for your growth. And I found out 4 years later, he'd been filling tote bags in his bedroom with piles of books and doing dumbbell curls with them. Then I thought, oh, okay, he's one of those.
Hyrox was sort of, it came into my life when I tried to look for something that was CrossFit, but for taller people. And so it was sort of, how can I find a sport that doesn't need me to be incredibly strong, needs me to be quite fit, and being 6'3", 6'4" is okay. One random reel on Instagram one day, I think it was late 2024, I saw this Hyrox and I was like, oh, this looks cool. And at that point, I was training. I was doing a sort of bodybuilder style training. I was in Cayman at the time. When I get back to England, I'm gonna book a ticket, train over to Scotland, do the Glasgow race. And it was just sort of did that on no specific training at all and absolutely loved it. So I love at first sight, so to speak, with the sport itself. I came away being like, this is what I wanna do. It wasn't sort of, oh, I'd like to do another one of these. It was, this is what I want to do. And I then booked another one in Madrid. But that first one in Glasgow is what I think sparked everything for me. Walking around afterwards, the community was so nice. I got there and one of the first things, I was in line for my ticket, and one of the first things that someone said to me was, have you done this before? What are you nervous about? What are you looking to do? And it was just sort of that community instantly hit me as, this is a nice one to be a part of, I think. So a community like that, a race like that, being organized how it was, I think was just what made me fall in love with it the first time I did it. Oh gosh, I think you'd have to ask them that one. What do my parents think? I think they didn't start taking it seriously until I said I didn't want to go and trial for the under-23s for the GB rowing. I'd rowed for 8-9 months for my uni, and they were like, okay, we'll help you out here. We'll give you a year to go and pursue this to make it into the GB squad for the next Olympics. Because at that point there was promise and I'd been invited to go and trial for them and everything. And I turned that down. And what I wanted to focus on from that point was Hyrox. And at this point, I still don't think they bought into this could be a career, because it wasn't anywhere near where it is now, obviously being a year and a half ago at this point. And I think it was after I did my sub-hour in Warsaw, which was my second pro race, I think, where they started to get a little bit like, oh, okay, because I think I built up to that point as to how big of a deal at that point sub-hour was. At the time in that season, I was about the 5th person in my age group to do it, and it was sort of, that was when they saw my time, they saw the work that I put in, they saw how dedicated it was. I think from my perspective, that's when they were like, maybe not a career even at that point, but that's when they started to take it seriously.
So I really loved rowing from like way back, and then he got into rowing and rowed a lot. I won't say he was into rowing, he rowed a lot and he was really good at it for about 10 months. And this is where I thought the fact that I could see from when he was a kid he had a great engine in him, I thought this could be it. And then after he won the rookie fours at the UK college championships, I thought this is going to be it. GB says, join the squad. I'm like, this is great. And you're like, no, I don't love it. But if you know, and I thought you'll like it enough. But I remembered that year and just getting up, he hated the early mornings. It's not like this is hard work. He hated it. Whereas now, and even then, getting up at 5 to train a hybrid style, great, I get to train. It's like, okay, then that's your thing. I was gutted, but I didn't spend very long trying to persuade him back into it because he just hated the nature of the training. I mean, the hybrid training is so varied. It's a completely different world. Nothing he's doing motivates him more than trying to get 1 inch better every day at what he's doing with this. There might be more talented people out there somewhere, maybe, but no one's going to outthink him, which is the big thing, I think, and there's no way anyone outworks him.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm Jude's mum. I mean, he was doing amazingly well at rowing, and he's the most physically appropriate for rowing, and we were told, oh, he's got the right wingspan, he's got the right height, he's got the right fitness levels, he's got the right cardio, and it seemed to be going really well. And then he just turned around and said, Mum, I hate it. We were devastated. We could tell that he just wasn't going to be happy doing that, and he'd found this thing called Hyrox, and he was living it, breathing it, and just dreaming about it. And you know, it soon became clear that had to be what he ended up doing. I mean, I've always sort of gone along to all his games, his baseball games, his football games. I'm always on the sidelines. I love watching him play, whatever it is. I wasn't expecting to love Hyrox. I mean, I'd heard it was just in a big warehouse and it's, you know, lots of hot, sweaty people. And I'm not sporty, I don't really compete. But I'd gone along and thought, this is absolutely cool. It's really fun to watch. It's a brilliant spectator sport. I can see how actually it's going to be one day, I think, at the Olympics.
So now my training looks a lot different than it ever been. So I'm with a new coach now, Chris Bayens, and training volume per week, hours is around 21 to 26 on any normal week, and my running volume is around, I think, 50K. With it being one of my weaknesses, it's not super high compared to some of these guys. That's something I think I need to sort of work towards improving or increasing a little bit, just because I think it could only help me if I can stay injury-free and run a bit more. Coaching, I sort of fit around my training. So when I plan out my day, I know I'm gonna train in the AM from here to here. I know I'm gonna train in the PM from here to here. Everything before, after, and in between is dedicated to eating as much as I can and I'm allowed to, and coaching. The good thing is that I love coaching. So to me, it's not finished training right now, I have to go and coach. It's awesome, training's done. I still have another one to go, which I'm excited for, and I get to coach. I'm so blessed and fortunate to be able to look forward to both sort of elements of my job. Around a day, I'll get in about 5 hours of programming, 5 hours coaching, and I might go and start doing some in-person things if I find the opportunity, but for now, it's just sort of coach in and where I can around my training. To me, since I started Hyrox back in late 2024, and especially since I've gone full-time, obviously, the aim is to be world champion, but obviously you've got to take baby steps to get there, right? So for me, that's going to be getting enough points, that's going to be breaking into the Elite 15, that's going to be being a regular in the Elite 15, that's going to be coming top 5, podiuming, and then hopefully, you know, obviously world champion being the end goal. But what I've dedicated everything, not just training, not just eating, but my whole lifestyle towards, everything I do, think, sleep, or study, or watch, or listen, everything is geared towards how can I be a better Hyrox athlete, how can I break into that Elite 15. And with time somewhat on my side, I'm sort of hopeful and just really excited to see where this journey of Hyrox will take me. Is there a possibility, you know, I get injured or something untoward happens? Yes, 100%. But I don't see a world in which breaking into the Elite 15, which is my ultimate goal, doesn't happen, no.
Good answer.